Hello, this is Adi, and today we are going to design this naming ceremony flyer. So once you open your Photoshop software, you press Ctrl N on your keyboard, or you go to File, New, and then you have this page here. So let's change this to pixels and let's enter something like 2500. Control A to select, or Control C to copy, Control A to select, or Control V to copy. And then I think these ones are okay. If you are going to print your work, I think you need to change this to CMYK. But as long as you're posting it for social media, this is okay. I decided to let the pixels or resolution go very high because it makes the image appear very nice and elegant. That is not a technical explanation, but if you are willing to get into details, you can look it up. So let's change this title here. And let's go ahead and select. So we have a perfect square or 1:1 ratio. Let's go ahead and add some rectangle here, and the shortcut is U. But as you can see, we have an ellipse here instead. So Ctrl Z to undo this. So you can press and hold Shift whilst you press that shortcut of that tool you wish to use. So Shift U to change or cycle through the sub tools. But then in this process, getting to the rectangle tool is too far. So I'll bring my cursor here, right click and select the rectangle. So here I can click here once and enter the pixels or the size I wish to use, which is I think 2500, just as we entered at the beginning, because I want it to fill the entire space here. So let me copy this and paste it here as well. So this is the width and height. So I'll go ahead and select OK. So let me bring it to this side. The guides here indicated that it is centered to the middle proportionally. So I'll leave it here. Let me change the color to something much random, and we can change it later. So I'll go for OK here. Control T to transform, and let me bring it down to something like this. I think let me let it be here, and then commit. So Control J to duplicate this layer here, and Control T to transform. So I'll press and hold Shift, click this side and drag it to this side here, and I think this is okay. Yeah. So let me commit and change this color to white. Yeah. So the next thing I'll do now is to add my image, or the image of the baby I wish to use, and I'll go to my gallery. Let me bring this down a bit. I have these two images, but then let me use this. So I'll drag it here and let me move it up a bit. Let it go up. Okay, this is fine. So I'll commit here, and I want this one to be on top of the baby, so I'll drag it up here, and then I want the white to be on top regardless, so I'll bring the white up as well. So I'll go ahead and add a gradient at this side, and let me make sure I have this particular layer selected, the one I wish to add the gradient onto. So the shortcut for the gradient tool is G, and this is a gradient tool. So I'll make sure I have the basic selected, whereas I have the black and white selected as I have here. So I'll go ahead and create a layer mask here. Make sure I have it selected. So so we are selecting this now. Click and drag down and press Shift to have it aligned perfectly. So something like this is okay. And let me click this side here, press Shift to drag it down here, and I think this is okay. But let me play with this side a bit. Let me bring this even much more, and let me let this one come up. So for me, this is okay for now. I can adjust it later. So let me adjust it a bit more, and I think this side is okay for now. And let me go ahead and add another rectangle here, say somewhere here. Let me drag it and place it here, and let me bring it on top of everything else and double click, make it pure white. I think I'll change the size later, but then I'll have it selected and press Ctrl A to select all and align it to the middle. Ctrl D to deselect. I think it's too large, so Ctrl T. Let me make it a bit small here whilst holding Shift. So then let me go ahead and add the other details. So I'll select the text tool here. I'll click a random place and make my typing. So since we are bringing it to a white background, let's change the color back to this and drag it here. Control it to select all, and let me use 27 to be my perfect size. And I think it's too big, so I'll Control A to select all, click the side and drag it a bit to make it a bit smaller for now. Let me zoom out and see how it's looking like. And probably they should come down. So I just selected the two layers, the text and the rectangle. I'll hold Shift and drag it down so that it moves perfectly, and I think this is okay. Let me add another text here and invites. So let me make the color white so that it will be visible. Let me change the font now. Let me use this and decrease the size a bit to something like this. This is okay. So let me bring it to this side so I can continue typing. I think I have a problem here. So I think this is okay. Let's type the naming ceremony and let's increase the size. Okay, let me change it to lower caps. So let me center it now and drag it somewhere here. So let me decrease the spacing between the two words, and I think this is okay. Go ahead and commit. Probably should make it a bit bigger and increase the distance a bit, and let me go ahead and commit. Now let's make this rectangle a bit small, so I'll select it by selecting the move tool. The shortcut is V. Press and hold Ctrl on the keyboard and click it. And you need to make sure your auto select is unchecked in order to do this. So let me go ahead and do that once again. So we had the text tool activated initially, so I press the V on my keyboard. My auto select is off, so now I have the move tool selected, and I press Ctrl on the keyboard and click this, and then we have that one selected now. So Ctrl T to transform. I'll press and hold Shift on the keyboard, click this side and drag it down a bit to have this space minimized. So I'll commit now, and let me copy this one here. So I'll do the same thing to select it. Press and hold Ctrl and click, press and hold Alt to drag it to duplicate, and I'll press Shift now whilst I still have the Alt pressed on the keyboard to drag it down perfectly aligned. So I'll release them now. Press T on the keyboard to activate the text tool. So this time I'll drag it here to align it. I'm just eyeballing. As we did earlier, you can always press Ctrl A to select all, and then go to the move tool and align it to the center. But then I mostly eyeball it, and I think this is okay. So let's add the venue, and this time add another rectangle here. So I'll go to my rectangle tool or press U on my keyboard. So I'll click this side here and drag it, and I think this is okay. So Control T, I want to transform it a bit. I'm holding Shift. I can press and hold Alt as well to transform it proportionally. So this is fine for now. So let me duplicate this text here and place it on top of this. Go to my move tool, press and hold Control and click on this text to select it on the layers, and let me drag it and place it on top of everything here. Press and hold Alt, click and drag and press the Shift to align it. And let me activate the text tool by pressing T on my keyboard. Click Ctrl A to select all and type the venue. I want this text to be on its own layer, so let me leave it here. I think somewhere here is fine. Commit and duplicate this text once again. So press V for the move tool. Press and hold Alt, click and drag it and press the Shift. Release it now and activate the text tool. Click Ctrl A to select all and zoom out a bit to see what we have here. Enlarge this, Ctrl A to select it and add this here. Bring it a bit close. So I tried adjusting the text and I think this is okay for now. Ctrl A to select all whilst I have the move tool selected, and let me try to align it. Ctrl D to deselect, and I think there is some space here which is larger than this side, so let me delete this. It's aligned now. Add the time and the date. Once I have it selected here, let me close this tab. I'll press Alt, click and drag it and place it somewhere here. T for text tool, click Ctrl A to select all, and let me type. Let me decrease the size. All caps. Let's duplicate this as well. Press and hold Alt and press Shift. Click and drag it to this end here. So adding the day, I'll click here and type this and bring it here, and let me change the font. So let me drag it here so I can see. Ctrl A to select all. Decrease the size. Duplicate it as well. Press and hold Alt and Shift, click and drag to let me place it here. Change this to the date and let's use 20th. Change this to the month. And now let me add the icons. So let me go to my gallery and drag this. Let me use this first. Click and drag it here and press and hold Alt to resize it. So it's already black, so I can invert it by pressing Ctrl I on my keyboard, and there's okay. So let me add the calendar as well. Click and drag and drop. Hold Alt, click the side and resize it. Let me bring it here as well and Great. So Control I to invert, and that is it. Let me select this, and this by pressing and holding Control and Shift. So now I have all of them selected, so I can drag and move them somewhere here. So let's resize it, and Control T to resize, and I'll go ahead and select the OK. Press and hold Alt, click and drag it. So this TH, let me make it a superscript. So let me highlight both ends. And that's okay. And let me group them now and rename them to date. So turn it on and off, and do the same for this side as well. So let me group them and name it time. So the venue, these two layers here, let me group them to and name it venue. So let me duplicate this rectangle here by selecting the layer, Control and click it, and Control J to duplicate. Then let me select it here and bring it down a bit by pressing and holding Shift, click and drag it down. Decrease the opacity a bit. I think 65 is okay. So let me bring it up a bit, and that's fine. So let me do the same thing for this as well. Control J to duplicate and move it down. And I'll go for Control T to transform and use this free transform. Drag this to this side here. And do the same for this end too. So I'll commit and go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and select the Convert to Smart Object. This OK. So I'll go ahead and select the OK just to create that shadow effect. So let me add the RSVP. The text is white, so let me sample this here. So let me choose the regular type, highlight this and make it bold. Yep, give much space and add something like this. So let me move it to this side here and decrease this. So use for the rectangle tool, I just want to add some little line here. So yeah, that's okay. Add another rectangle here and see how it will look like. Let me change the color to white. Let's duplicate it by pressing and holding Alt and Shift, click and drag to the side here. Let's place it here and Control J to duplicate. Let me rotate it by pressing Control T. Angle should be -90. So let's bring it to this end here. So we can change the color by pressing and holding Control and clicking this. Make sure it's selected here. So I'll double click. And then we can change the color. So anything else? I don't know what to think. I want to make this a bit bold. In fact, the spacing between the text is killing me, so let me reduce it a bit. And yeah, I think this is okay. So this is a simple flyer you can create. So let's go ahead and save our work. So file, save as, and let me make this PSD. So we are saving it in a PSD format, and I'll go ahead and save it. So let me save it in an image, save a copy. So from the drop down, I'll select PNG and let me add it here. And this is the image. I like to save my images in PNG because it retains the quality of the picture. So let me save it now. And this is the final work. And these are also alternative colors you can use by changing the solid color. Just double click and drag it around to change the color wherever you want to place it. Or that is the end of the video. See you in the next one.